Hello everybody, Buddy Way, Midland, Texas. Going to do a little video today. I think you're going to find it super interesting. I was tagged, woke up this morning, I was tagged on a Facebook post, and here's what it said. This was an attachment about a expired license for this Pattaya massage business is showing, and the message here on it was, we're no longer in business, our license expired, so we are no longer doing massages. New owners stole my business and we are performing massages there illegally and are in prostitution ring. If you see that they are performing massages, unlicensed activity, please file a complaint through the Texas Department of Licensing and Registration. Thank you, I appreciate it. They're still at the old location, University Odessa. Okay, and so I've done videos about this before and thought about this, is that these massage businesses are in every shopping center. They're all over the place. They didn't used to be, but now you can't drive past the shopping center without seeing one. Flashing lights, all that. And I remember at the getting my hair cut at this place, and next door to them was one of them businesses, and the people that work there, they're all laughing about the noises that are coming from next door, because it's obviously just a front for organized prostitution is what it was. Sex noises coming from next door, and so that's really what it is. And then I really suspect that then there's the kickbacks and the and you're going to pay off corrupt police that to keep their business open and not bust them for this organized prostitution. And I believe the SBI, they've done reports on organized prostitution. It brings into town all the other crimes that goes with it, the drugs and blackmail, extortion, murder, assault, rape, everything, and because it's a business of people selling people, and so it's a product. People are a product. If you run low on product, then you go, get some young girl, and then like they did at the oil show party, they tell her you're going to prostitute or die, or they drug them or film them or blackmail them, whatever, blackmail the tricks, that and then it's just every crime you can imagine that comes along with it. Anyways, I thought that was interesting. I was going to share that here. What I seen, I posted on my Facebook. The little write-up that I did was, says many of these massage businesses are front for organized prostitution, and they're now in every shopping center. Before, I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, and then found proof that somebody under my home, that police were under my home. I came home from work and I found an odd message on my answering machine where a woman was told about a massage job here. This was on my home phone, okay? In October 2010, my friend Angie told me about a young girl that was murdered at an oil show party when she refused to prostitute, which I believe also happened in the underground homes here. The remains of a 14 to 21-year-old black girl was then found outside of Midland in 2013, and and obviously there's nobody trying to solve that murder. If they were, they would be exposing the underground homes here that multiple people have said were here, including a guy running for sheriff. And one of the reasons my marriage ended was because I suspected the ex-wife was working with the prostitution ring. That's in the transcript for the protective order. One day she told me, they pay you by the hour, the minute, or the day, and I'm tired. She was a nurse. They didn't pay them by the minute. Another day I said, I want to know who the pimps, the tricks, and the drug dealers are, and she replied, it's a family business. And once again, that was all testimony that come out of the protective order here. And so I did some old comments here that, to back up what I just, was just telling you. And I said, before I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home and then found proof that police were under my home, I came home from work and found an odd message on my answer machine where a woman was told about a massage job here, okay? And that was this message right here.
Hi, Ms. Gibson. This is Norma Perez. I own a salon, and I spoke to the lady at the massage place down the way, and I'm really interested in leasing a spot from you. Would you please call me back? My number is 934-3979.
See, that was, this was prior to me, being surviving the murder attempt, where I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, and then later found proof that police were under my home. Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, and Angel in Hell. There was absolute proof that they entered from the now removed trapdoor entrance, ex-wife already told me about, and from where I had been shot. Okay, I have a few more comments underneath that, because that woman's name was Nancy Perez, Norma Perez is what it was, and so here I said I would later wonder if this Lisa Perez, I think that's Norma Perez, I need to change that, was related to Eric or Chris Perez, as I suspected he may have been connected to the murder attempt on my life. In January 2013, News West 9 reported that the police were looking for him on charges of capital attempted murder, okay? And that's what the person, that tried to murder me should be charged with, okay? I saw a guy that looked like Chris across the street, or Eric, and from a home at 3805 Fair Circle, loading laundry in an SUV and switching vehicles, a guy that didn't live here. So I called the police and reported this, but that guy, he left before they got here. The Lone Star Task Force came here, and while in my home, the burglar in the attic set off a motion alarm while the police were in my home. Okay. While we were looking, they were like, "What is that?" And I said, "That's another home invasion." And I told them the story. This has been going on. I've been reporting this. While we were looking at the security camera footage, they got a call from another possible sighting at Kelly Grimsley, and quickly left. The news reported they barely missed Eric there, and I wondered if that was an intentional diversion, to get him away from my house, and because the burglar obviously knew the police were here and why. They later arrested Eric, and the charges for capital attempted murder mysteriously went away, and he was only charged with evading. Devon Sanchez, the wife of Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, who was the first law enforcement officer to arrive at my Midland home after the premeditated murder attempt on my life, did an exclusive interview with him about why you should never run from the police, but left out the fact that he had shot at Martin County deputies, and her husband was the sheriff over there, okay? And like I said, here's a Martin County Sheriff at my home minutes after a premeditated murder attempt. Nobody's explained that. The news reported that he was in a Camaro, and then I later saw the neighbor's son's red Camaro hauled off on a trailer and wrecked. I wondered if Eric Perez was in that car. I don't know. I tried to get the news story for this from News West 9, but when I went up there, I was told that all stories before 2014 were accidentally deleted. Darn it. This reminded me of the required records for underground structures which the city maintains, as I was told they were accidentally deleted around the same time. Darn it. Okay, I'm going to show you the police report right here for this call on January 3rd, 2013. That's when I seen across the street male subject matching the description of Chris Perez, which is Eric Perez, loading up a silver SUV and then had the license plate number with clothes. Okay. These were the officers' names that were on this report: Michael Hedrick, Nathan Land, and David Haywood. Okay, and so that was, it was all over the news. They were looking for this guy right here for capital attempted murder. Okay. The Lone Star Task Force came here, and while in my home, the burglar in the attic set off a motion alarm. While we were looking at the security camera footage, they got a call for another possible sighting at Kelly Grimsley. Quickly left. The news reported they barely missed him there, and I wondered if that was an intentional diversion. I read that a minute ago. I'm going to show you a print screen here from, I think this was Odessa American way back in here. 2013, January 8, 2013. Perez, 25, previously evaded officers the last week to December in Martin County, who reportedly shot at deputies. So he tried to murder cops, okay? This guy tried to murder cops. That's right there in the news, okay? And then here was dispatched to Kelly Grimsley that on January 3rd. Well, they were actually at my home when that happened, okay? And then here we go. Perez was then discovered here in Texas and finally arrested, okay? And then as I was saying, That's who I thought I saw across my street, across the street from my house at 3805. It was, it was a guy that looked like this, didn't live here, and he's switching vehicles and loading laundry in a vehicle. And so I called because he was wanted for capital attempted murder, and I thought he might have been the guy that shot me. The question was asked if this Perez was related to the Perez that was asking about the massage job. I think that was Norma Perez. Okay, and on my home phone. They later arrested him, and the charges for capital attempted murder mysteriously went away, and he was only charged with evading. Devin Sanchez, the wife of Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, who was the first law enforcement officer to arrive at my Midland home after the premeditated murder of my wife, did an exclusive interview with him about why you should never run from police, but left out the fact that he tried to murder Martin County deputies. This guy tried to kill cops, Oh, no, don't worry about that, And here's another, print screen. Most of these have been since deleted by these news organizations that I've long suspected are involved in trying to cover up the crimes and murders around our area, because I pointed out, I'm going, look here, this guy tried to murder a cop, and they deleted it, but I don't know if this one's deleted. I know some of them were. I have a video on it. I'm going to show you in a minute. And it says firing a gun at Martin County Sheriff's deputies. That's where I got that from, okay? But here, Devin Sanchez, and now keep in mind, she was married to Martin County Sheriff John Woodward, the first guy to show up at my home minutes after I survived a premeditated murder attempt. I believe that Woodward was in the underground home when I was shot. Maybe he was the shooter, But the whole thing is, she's having this interview. This was a news interview with Eric Perez, and why you should never run with the police. Exclusive. Here's why you never, and left out the fact that he tried to murder cops, didn't even mention it. All them charges just mysteriously went away, especially when old buddy thinks that he's the guy that, that tried to, maybe he's the guy that tried to kill me in my home, The news reported that there was a Camaro, okay? And that's what I was saying. That's in this video here. There's a picture of it, actually, I think, of that Camaro. And they put it on the trailer. It was wrecked, hauled away. But it's in the news article about that Eric Perez had grabbed a Camaro or whatever over in Martin County when he tried to murder them cops. And I said, this reminded me of the required records. Because, see, I went to News West 9, and I was going to get a copy of that. We're looking for Eric Perez for capital attempted murder, because I've got the print screens on it. I wanted the video on it. So I went up there to get it. Oh, all our news stories are accidentally deleted, And then as right after I left, within that week, there was about 5 or 6 more news stories that got deleted after I told the representative at News West 9. That's in this video right here, wanted for capital attempted murder. I'm going, look here, I just looked at that news article. I go up to News West 9 and I'm asking for another article, and all of a sudden they delete them. It was just so blatant in your face. This reminded me of the required records for the underground structures which the city maintains, as I was told they were accidentally deleted around the same time. And this is pivoting off, it's related. A woman named Julia Weidman, she comes down from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, seen my story on the internet. She's an expert in these records for underground facilities. Okay, she sets up a meeting with the city, and I'm trying to think. Here you go. James Raw was clearly prepared to tell me about the missing records. That's what she says. The basis of our conversation was RC. She knows all that. And he went and got the book in another room when I brought it up. Fort Worth uses this, Midland uses that. But according to Rawls, there had been no changes made, etc. And when I asked him about the permit records for storm shelters in Midland, he, with a smile, told me that all permit records prior to 2015 had been destroyed or lost due to an attempt to digitize department records in 2014, 2015. Ain't that funny? Especially when somebody was trying to murder, they tried to murder me from an underground facility in 2012, and that's where it's believed the oil show parties are, where they murdered a little girl in the underground home, but all the records are accidentally deleted. You see where I'm comparing that to News West 9's records were accidentally deleted, and I asked him if he was the gatekeeper for these records, and he answered that he was. In other words, there was nowhere else to go but his office. When I brought up the subject of the basement at Home Depot, it clearly unnerved him. But he was downright gloating about the missing records and emphasized a number of times that the request to build storm shelters in Midland would be rare. He kept repeating that as if somebody had told him to keep repeating it. We really don't get requests like that, the storm shelter permits. Well, he was quite a character, animated, instead of with a matter-of-fact professionalism the one would expect with a conversation as dry as storm shelters. That's what Julia had wrote me explaining what happened. I Googled this James Rawls that worked for the city and found out that he used to work for Home Depot. Ain't that interesting? Okay. In October 2010, my friend Angie told me about a young girl that was murdered at a wholesale party when she refused to prostitute, which I also believe happened here. The remains of a 14 to 21-year-old black girl was then found outside of Midland 2013. Okay, I've seen that many videos, many times, and basically it's showing the underground home in my backyard that multiple people have said was here. Okay, you go to Google Maps, you see it on the map screen, you can't see it on the block screen. That's where it's believed the wholesale parties were going. You know, Trish Ann Wilkinson told me, says, I had friends involved in those wholesale parties, and they're exactly what you say. They're underground homes, okay? And that little girl was murdered because she didn't want to prostitute, 2010. That's what Angie told me, and that's where it's believed it happened at. And I get that phone call on my answering machine prior to the murder attempt in my life about a massage business. And that's what this is about, it started, that a lot of these massage businesses are front for organized prostitution, which brings all the other crimes in, okay? And then in 2013, the remains of a black girl was found outside of Midland, and they're obviously not trying to solve this murder. If they were, they would expose these underground homes, where the wholesale parties were, or arrest them police officers that falsified the police reports that were under my home. They're absolutely just blatantly trying to cover up that murder as far as I'm concerned. And one of the reasons my marriage ended was because I suspect the ex-wife was working with the prostitution ring. One day she told me they pay you by the hour, the minute, of the day, and I'm tired. Another day she said, I want to know who the pimps, the tricks, and drug dealers are. And she replied, it's a family business. This is transcript from the court testimony, and that way it's not he said, she said, or whatever, It says, and I was asked in court question. Now, you previously said, you said that you had suspected so-and-so of being a prostitute. Do you recall in December of 2011 speaking to her about that? I said, yes, we had a few conversations, and we did, like I said, argue over this point several times. She come home one day. They said they pay you by the hour, the minute, or the day, and I just worked 2 days, and I'm tired. She said that with an attitude, okay? And also, if you want to say accused her breath of smelling like semen, she literally turned around and breathed in my face on purpose, on purpose, she was letting me know. And then another conversation that was referenced in the order was, oh, I want to know who the pimps, the tricks, and the drug dealers are. And she says, it's a family business, Like I said, that was a 3-month marriage, that ended under allegations. Okay. And then about a week before the murder attempt, the ex-wife and I were loading her things up into a truck. We'd already separated. And I told her, I know about the tunnels, and I already called the DEA. Okay. I didn't know they were not going to look, and I was going to be ambushed and shot a couple weeks later. Some people have wondered if the DEA didn't set me up to be murdered because they were, involved in these crimes with the underground homes. That's a valid question. She thinks about what I told her, and I believe she was concerned that law enforcement would bust what was going on here. And she looks me in the eye and slowly says, I'm not a part of a prostitution ring. I didn't say anything about prostitution. So this confirmed to me what was going on underground here, and she was asking me to keep her out of it, okay? And so here's a picture that I added to this. It's Miss Hattie's Bordello Museum and the secret underground tunnels in San Angelo, Texas, 2 hours from Midland, Texas. Over there in San Angelo, 2 hours from here, they have tunnels under that city right there that were used for prostitution, okay? This is not uncommon to be happening in this area, okay? And so I just want to show you that. That started with, when I get tagged on this on this message here about this massage business here, and this other person says they're doing prostitution there, and then that's where it led off on, hey, I've got this phone call that I got before the murder attempt, and then all this other evidence. I believe that's what's happening here, that this whole thing's connected to a prostitution crime ring, but brings in all the other crimes with it, like murder, attempted murder, rape, drugs, everything, you name it. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.